Hello, everyone. It's Friday once again, so you know what that means. It's time for another edition of Artisan Weekly. We're almost at 100 now, so it's been another busy week. Plenty of content out there: blogs, videos, podcasts. Hopefully, you've had a chance to listen, watch, read something. But if not, here's a top 10 rundown of what I found interesting this week. So, in first place, we've got this post over on the PHP Foundation website by Sebastian. So let's just say you're managing an open source project, a package, something that's being used by a lot of users, and all of a sudden you get a security report. And what do you do? Well, Sebastian has kindly put together this guide on what you should be doing when you get one of these reports. It's a well thought out, well put together guide. It's got some really great steps. As it says, nothing bad has happened. Don't, take a breath, take a moment. It's not a breach. This is a report. Someone has kindly given you a head start into an issue privately that they found. So yeah, if you're running an open source package or a piece of open source software, this is a post that's worth reading just to make sure, so if it ever happens, you know what to do. The next up, over on the Laravel blog, there's this post now by Samantha. So her and Abby, they're not programmers, they work in the marketing team. And Laracon US was there, they had photographers, they had loads of photos taken. So they were trying to figure out a way to get them up to be able to share them. So they built a photo sharing app. They use Claude, and it's a nice walkthrough on how they did that. Coming from a perspective of not knowing how to code. These are interesting posts. We're going to see more and more of this now with AI. But yeah, it was just a nice read through from that point of view. Next up, this one by Stephen. Now we all should be using static analysis at some point. PHPStan, SARM. We're heavy on the PHPStan side, and there's lots of rules out there, but sometimes in your business, in your team, you might have a couple of things that you always do. Like his example here is if you're going to write a job and you're going to implement should queue, there should always be the tries attribute should always be there. So he walks us through creating a custom rule to make sure that that class is always defined as finally and that it has the tries property on it. So yeah, if you've been thinking about writing a custom PHPStan rule, this is a perfect post for you. Next up then, we've got this short snippet from Larry Garfield. Harris did an interview with him at PHPverse in this year. So generics is obviously a subject that keeps popping up in the PHP world. We have RFCs that get rejected, ideas that get thrown away. Larry here talks about how the fact that, in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to be using generics and we might not even know it. There's going to be underlying features in the PHP language that could move to them when we get this implementation in place. Your favorite framework, some of those functions, they might be using them and you might not even know it. So I think he's kind of trying to say, like, we're going to have to get used to the fact that generics are going to be here at some point, and we are going to be using them. Are you looking forward to it when someone finally gets a good RFC that gets accepted? It feels like it's the one thing that's missing from the language. But yeah, another interesting short little video there by Harris and Larry. Wendell now. As always, Wendell, puts together a lot of effort with these posts. This one, he's talking about modular monoliths. It feels like we're almost coming full circle now. Monoliths, microservices was a thing for a while, and now we've kind of come back to modular monoliths. It feels like, this larger code base. So this post talks about how to structure, how to write good monoliths, like boundaries to make sure that the code isn't messy, jumping all over the place. So yeah, if you're considering that you might have to write a large code base, and this is a great post to get you going. This next one by Vladimir. Vlad's a well-known developer in the Laravel space, really nice guy. He has an agency, but he also has a number of SaaS products. So he's talking here about how he migrated one of his SaaS products, Taskavel, from Forge to cloud. So if you're in that similar situation, you're on Forge and you've been considering moving to cloud and you're just not too sure if you should bite the bullet, This is a really nice post and walkthrough on like why he moved, but also anything that happened, any gotchas and things like that during the move that might help you out. Next up, then we've got this post by Eric. Now, testing is something that is really important. And there'll be times where you're working with code that is time dependent, like as in this code should only run on a Friday morning at 8 o'clock. And you might be scratching your head thinking, well, how do I test that? How am I going to test that if it's a Thursday morning here? So there are a bunch of methods in like Carbon, Laravel's got this travel. There's all these things that you can use to help get that test ready to run at certain times. And he just walks through how to do that. So if you've been scratching your head thinking, how do I test this kind of timing thing? Here is the post for you. Next up, then we've got this one by Daniel. So we know that Laravel released the head package, and I've not seen it yet in the wild, but obviously Daniel liked the look of the package and he's implemented it. And this post talks about how he migrated 100,000 pages to use that new package. So if you've got a project that has got a lot of pages and you've been thinking, well, how am I going to do that? This might be a really good post for you to go about doing that. Next up, then we've got this post by Povlas over on the Laravel Daily. So Barry's debug bar, you've probably heard about it. You've probably used it at some point in your Laravel career. It's a staple, in our code bases that we use local. But Benjamin has been developing a new debug bar for Laravel. It's got a modern UI, and as it says, this AI-agentic future is kind of aimed at the way that the development's going. So yeah, Povlas kind of has a play around with it and kind of gives his verdict on that package. And then finally, another post by Sebastian, but this time over on the PHP unit website. So you kind of asked the question, like, how does PHP in 2026 compare with the current ideas on a modern language? Like, so he starts off by talking about the goal statement of Rhombus, which is a new programming language. I've not heard of it, but it had like a 5-point checklist of what a modern language should have. So he compared that to what PHP's got right now, and we scored a 4 out of 5, which I think is a great score, to be honest with you. I mean, it's not 5 out of 5, but hopefully we can tick that final bit off. But yeah, so if you've been, like if it's a question that you might see, that you might get asked at work or whatever, this could be a good post to point them towards, to kind of let them know that, hey, PHP is a modern language, has a lot of these modern features that require to class it as a modern language. So yeah, maybe bookmark this one for future reference. So that's it for this week. If there was something that you enjoyed, a post, one of the videos, please, reach out to the authors on Twitter, wherever you might find them. Let them know you enjoyed it. I'm sure they'd appreciate that. And obviously, if you did enjoy this Artisan Weekly, you can head over to the YouTube channel and subscribe. But also, we have a newsletter. So, head over to the website, sign up to that newsletter, and you'll get this into your inbox every Friday morning. It was great to see you all again, and hopefully I can see you on edition 100. Thanks all.